This video we're going to talk about an object that is hanging from a surface with two strings that are at an angle. So these angles should be the same. So if these angles are the same, then you really only have to find the force for one side of them, or the tension on the string for one side, and then it'll be the same for both strings. So if we want to look at them, we don't ever deal with anything that's actually at an angle. We're always going to look at the components. So we always have an x-axis and a y-axis that adds to our tension, which is going to be the hypotenuse of our triangle. So if we're trying to find the components of these, we can always look at the force of weight as a clue to help us. So the force of weight of the block has to be counteracted by the tension in the two strings. So because the tension in the two strings is at an angle, then the vertical component for those two strings must add up to the force of weight. So when we do that, we have two triangles that are the same. Pretend those are the same. And they both have the same angle. So the vertical component is going to be 1/2 of the force of weight. So then in order to determine our tension, that force of tension on the y-axis is going to be equal to the sine of theta times the force of tension. So your force of tension is going to be the hypotenuse. And then if we want to look for the cosine, or the parallel or the horizontal aspect of the tension for the string, then the horizontal aspect, or the force of tension in the x-axis, is going to be the cosine of theta for the force of tension. So manipulating either of those formulas, you'll be able to determine the components of those two. And then of course, if you're trying to find that force of tension and you have the components, then you can always just do the Pythagorean theorem. So force of tension on the y squared plus force of tension on the x squared equals force of tension squared.